Hi there, it's Mario here, and in this video I want to talk to you a bit about positivity. How do you fight off negative self-talk? How do you eliminate those negative thoughts, or at least how do you deal with them and make sure that you can move forward, to stay grounded? And this is a huge issue that I've had to deal with a lot. I actually was inspired by one of the questions that I got from you guys, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I love when you guys send me questions. There's a whole bunch, and I actually make a lot of videos based on those questions. So don't hesitate to send them. I'm gonna actually leave my email again in the description below for you who have questions, who might want to have a video made on it. Definitely leave those and send them in through the email, and I definitely read all the emails, and sometimes I might not reply immediately, but I will make a video on it. So you'll still get value out of it. So how do you become more positive? Well, the question I got was actually from a person that I believe is from Europe somewhere, because the English, he says I'm not a native English speaker, and his name is European. I'm not gonna read out the name because I wanna keep it anonymous. So the question is really that, okay, so it says, hey Mario, I've been following your channel for over a year now, and I'm looking to do all the things that you preach, right? So he says, like, I'm gonna keep it short. So he says, like, I wanna exercise, I wanna eat healthy, I'm doing intermittent fasting, he says. I'm going to the gym right now, and he's not sure whether he should go to college or not. So he's like, I believe he's in his early 20s, and his parents and his family in general is putting a lot of pressure on him. So his siblings, that he should go to college, and he's saying here that his parents and nobody understands why he's pushing himself really hard, why he's doing all these personal development things and going out a lot and things like that. And he's asking for some tips because it's making him negative. He says it's creating a lot of negative self-talk because he's not happy with himself. And how do you deal with this? He's asking for some tips. So that's a very short version of a very long story here. And yeah, this is something I had to deal with a lot. So I want to address the college issue at first. And there's a lot of extremist standpoints when it comes to college, whether you should go to college or not. And then I'm going to go to positivity. So with college, I mean, some people will say it's either you become an entrepreneur, follow your dreams, or you suck shit. Like, you cannot be working at the same time and follow your dreams, which is definitely not true, right? People associate going to college now is like, you said no to your dreams, man. Like, you should be an entrepreneur. You should start your business right now. Follow your path. Not everybody needs to start their own business if they want to be happy, right? If you want to contribute, if you want to add value to the world. Adding value to the world is ultimately what you want to do through your craft. And you can become a master at your craft, and you can work for great companies, work for businesses that have and share the same vision as you. You don't have to be the CEO of the company. CEO of the company or the owner of the company is just one different role inside of the business. Right? It's a role in the business. It doesn't share, and it doesn't mean that the mission of the business is to become the owner of the business, right? I mean, a lot of people don't understand this when they look at, let's say, a business like Facebook or some business like Apple or some business that's changing the world. The guys that are the fifth and the sixth and the seventh, all the guys working for the company, they share the same vision. So it doesn't matter who's the owner. It doesn't matter if Mark Zuckerberg is there or someone else. That's just a role that he's fulfilling, but everybody has a chance to contribute to the vision through their own craft. So it doesn't matter if you own the company or not, right? And in terms of making money, dude, like, if you're really good at your craft, if you really know what you're doing, if you're a video editor, if you're like a great web designer, if you're a translator, if you're a teacher, whatever you are, if you're a master in your craft, if you're really putting the hours of practice, you will not have to worry about your financial success. If you educate yourself on money, if you really, really put in the effort, if you become that indispensable person within any company, regardless of whether it's a crisis or not, you will be financially secure, at least for that. So the college is, I mean, it's a great experience. I would say that going to college, I personally went to college. I got a master's in computing, and that is, I think, was a really good experience for me. Right now, if I had to go back, would I go to college? I probably would go to college, but I would take the whole thing differently, because when I was going to college, I was ignoring everything else. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this college thing. This is gonna take care of everything else. No, I mean, if you're going to college, you can't neglect the other parts of your life. You can't neglect personal development. You can't neglect improving yourself in your health, in your relationships, in your business in general. that's not an excuse, right? Going to college is not an excuse for not working on these other things. And that's one big thing. People think in black and white terms. They think if I'm going to college, I'm going to do all of these other things. And if I'm doing all these other things, screw college. That's the college rant. I'm not going to hammer on too much of it. You can still do college and do all the other things. I've been there. I've done that. As I said, I got a master's in computing, 5 years, hard work, a lot of math, a lot of computing, a lot of programming. It was hard, but let's be real here. I had a lot of time. I wasted a shit ton of time playing World of Warcraft and not taking care of myself. And I could have done much more if I had this same thought process that I have now. So in general, let's talk about positivity a little bit. So when we're talking about being positive and staying positive, one problem, let's say with the question, with the story that I got, is that you're letting those negative thoughts enter your mind, and then you're adding your own twist to the thoughts, and that's amplifying the thing, right? So if I tell you, hey, you're a piece of shit, right? If that just bounces off you or just goes in here and comes out here, it's not gonna have an effect. But if I tell you, hey, you're a piece of shit, and then you're like, okay, thinking, okay, Mario told me I'm a piece of shit. Am I a piece of shit? Maybe I am a piece of shit. Am I really a piece of shit? I didn't do this good thing yesterday. Maybe I am a piece of shit. Maybe I'm not taking enough action. Oh yeah, I am a piece of shit. That is actually what is amplifying the sentence that someone tells you. You yourself, what you tell yourself, that's creating that negative thought. That's creating that negative loop. And that loop is what's creating the whole issue of negativity. So staying positive really means that you're grounded in who you are. So you have certain core confidence. So when something comes in there into your mind, you can objectively see that. Because the thing is, with our brains, the brain will believe whatever you tell it the most. The brain doesn't know if the thing is true or false. The brain doesn't know if it's based on facts or whether it's based on just an emotional reaction, whether it's based on some rumor or something. The brain just believes what it hears the most. And that's the huge issue with negative thoughts. The brain eventually starts believing whatever you tell it to, and if you keep telling it the negative thoughts or keep accepting the negative thoughts, it becomes the new default. And actually, I've read some interesting facts there that about 25, there's a ratio of like 3 to 1 of how many no's we get to how many yeses we get as we grow up. Because a lot of things we hear is like no. A lot of things we hear is negativity. It's like kind of to protect ourselves, our parents, our siblings, our teachers, everybody's saying no to certain things, right? They're like trying to protect you, which also frames us in a way to be more negative, to be looking for more like a protective mindset. Okay, I'm rather not gonna do that. I'm not gonna risk it. I'm just gonna stay safe. And it also puts you back in your kind of in your own place. When you say something, when I come out, when you want to express yourself, when you hear a no, gets you back to your place and you're like, okay, shit, I can't say anything. So it kind of inhibits you. And you can see this happen all the time. People are very, very inhibited and they're hard to express themselves. I mean, I'm having these issues as well, especially when I started making YouTube videos. I was like, shit, I have to talk to the camera. Like, I have to express myself. Would anybody care? Am I not just a piece of shit, right? Like, why would someone care? Right? So it takes a while for us to break out of that shell and realize that it is all about practice. So what you practice, that's what you become. So if you're practicing positivity, you're going to become a more positive person. If you're practicing negativity, sadly, you're becoming more negative. That's just the way the brain works. And it's sad because most people don't realize this. Most people don't see how many negative thoughts are entering and how many negative thoughts are staying there. Like your self-judgments. When you look at someone on Facebook and he has like abs and you're like, oh shit, I don't have abs. Why does this person have abs and I don't have abs? Or someone has a new car and you're like, fuck, I want that new car. Why don't I have that new car, right? And you're inserting all these negative thoughts in yourself and you're like adding more to that insecurity, but it's just a post, right? So it is about working on reframing these things as like, okay, I'm the person, I'm working on myself, I'm improving, I'm moving forward, I am who I am good enough, right? You have to be able to reframe these things that are coming in and reframe things in general and situations in a positive way. Find a positive twist. If you had a really horrible day, I bet that you can find at least 2 things that you could be grateful for in that day. At least 2 things, at least 2, right? And oftentimes it's more like 5 and 6. Like, do you have food on your table? Do you have electricity? Do you have water? Do you have places to travel? Do you have friends? Do you have family? Could you call your friend? Could you do this? Could you do that? You could do a ton of things. You can always find something positive. And I know this video is turning out into a bit of a longer video, but I want to share with you guys a little bit of thoughts on this because I think it's a huge issue that a lot of us don't realize is that our brains are practicing machines, right? If you practice one thing, it's going to get good at that. Whether that is true or false or wrong or right or whether you want it or not, whatever you're practicing, that's what you're becoming. And that's really, I mean, even Buddha, I mean, if you look at like the old quotes, what you think you become. And that is absolutely true. It's not some kind of magical, the secret or whatever, but it is what you're practicing, that's what you're becoming. And sadly, a lot of us are not aware of. So let me give you some practical advice. Some stuff that I've used in the past is a 30-day positivity challenge. So every time I would catch myself saying a negative thought or thinking a negative thought, I would reframe it immediately into a positive. Even if I said a negative, even if I said, oh, I have no time, or I can't do this, I don't have time, I would reframe that and say, well, let me just finish this, then I'm gonna get to that. So I'm gonna reframe that all the time. Or like, oh, I'm having such a bad day. I would, okay, shit, did I say something negative? I would reframe that as, okay, oh yeah, it wasn't really the best day ever, but I did this and this right. So I find something positive. It's like a 30-day positivity challenge. This was a huge, huge revelation for me because I was realizing, damn man, I'm like 80% of the time I'm thinking negative. I'm thinking those negative thoughts that are literally making my life worse. And why am I doing that? It's simply that I fell into those habits. It's not that there's some kind of conspiracy or that my brain is just wired like that. No, I just fell into that. I was practicing that for a while and it just became the default. So what I did is a 30-day positivity challenge. Other great stuff that I can recommend you is check out a book by Shad Helmstetter called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Amazing. He's an expert on self-talk. This guy, I mean, everything he says, 100% agree on in terms of what do you say to yourself and how do you deal with that negative thought. I'm going to leave the link to the book in the description below for you guys to check that out. And I highly recommend you to read that, as well as what you can do is, if you want something very practical you can apply right now, is try to look back in your last 48 hours and see what are some of the negative things that are happening, what are some of the positive things that are happening, and in the next 48 hours, try to reframe exactly every single negative thing that happens to you as a positive. Try to find something positive. Practice reframing. And then you will realize, damn it, I can actually do this. This has been just something that I haven't practiced for a while. So try to do that and try to just focus and try to find that positive thing in your life, and you will start noticing benefits. One great little habit that will help you kind of get you in that direction is every morning when you wake up, after your feet hit the floor, you say to yourself, it's going to be a great day today. You don't have to say it out loud. You can just think about it. It's called the Maui habit. It's actually one of the most famous habits in the world. One thing that I've been practicing for a while. It becomes very, very sticky, easy. You know, it sticks super easy. It's like a little tiny habit. Doesn't require a lot of effort. So every time your feet hit the floor in the morning, you say, hey, it's going to be a great day. And that also helps you to add more to the positivity thing. And in general, I mean, staying positive and kind of being able to, I guess, deal with negativity is one of the missing pieces of puzzle that I see with a lot of people when it comes to getting results in the gym as well. When it comes to your fitness, when it comes to your general health, staying positive is incredibly helpful. I mean, what you do outside of the gym matters equally as what you do inside of the gym. If you're super stressed outside of the gym, if you're always like tightly bound, if you're always like on the verge of a mental breakdown, you're gonna have a very hard time progressing in the gym. And they did studies on this, and college students, for example, during an exam period, they barely made any gains in the gym because there was so much pressure on them. There was so much they had to do, and they were under a lot of pressure and they couldn't perform properly in the gym. So it's a really helpful way to look at things, that managing your own stress and kind of dealing with that negativity is extremely helpful in the long run by you giving yourself a chance and setting yourself up for success by simply managing your stress outside the gym and finding things that are positive for you. Find things that are kind of fun, you know, find things, something that you enjoy, whether it's playing video games, whether it's watching old TV shows, old movies, getting a Nintendo or whatever it is, like watching anime. You know, I love watching like Dragon Ball, you know, that's kind of making me relax. You know, I love watching Dragon Ball. I sometimes watch Dragon Ball Z episodes. They're remastered and I'm just watching them again. You know, I watch them like 16 times, right? I sometimes play video games and I just open Tetris sometimes and just do it for like 40 minutes like straight playing Tetris, get lost in the flow, or play a other video game, just do it. If you feel like you're stressed, if you feel like you are just working all the time, or if you're just in that negative thought loop, these are some of the things that can be helpful. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it took a little bit longer than expected. I just wanted to express some ideas and share some thoughts with you guys on this matter. And definitely make sure to leave a comment below if there's any questions on the issue. If you feel like you've resonated with something in this video, make sure to leave a comment below. Aside from that, make sure to hit that subscribe button below to support the channel. And be sure to send in questions and stories and things you would like to hear thoughts on, because I might be interested in starting up a little series where I would answer the questions and things that are coming in. So hit me up on that. I'm going to leave the email in the comments and in the description below. So enjoy and have a great rest of your day. Stay positive, as I said, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.